Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, we will be exploring SQL Joins, which is a part of intermediate SQL. So let's begin. We already explored the theoretical part of SQL Joins. So in this video, we will be implementing some of the queries related to SQL Joins. So first, here they have given an example about joins. And remember, whenever you are working with joins, you have to remember few keywords, and they are select, from, join, on, and that's it. These are the four main keywords which you will be needing when you are dealing with SQL joins. Join will tell you what type of join will be used, like inner join, outer join, self join, left or right join. On will be used to join the two tables. So in this example, they have joined college football players with college football teams on the basis of school name, and then they are grouping by and ordering by players' weight, and they are selecting the team's conference, and as well as the in each conference the weight of those players, the average weight of all the players. So there is a lot of new stuff happening here, so we'll go step by step. When performing joins, it is easier to give your table name aliases. So in this table they have assigned some aliases like players and teams. It's pretty long and annoying type, so it becomes easier. You can give a table an alias by adding a space, as with column name best. But once you are giving your alias, you can refer to the column in the select. So as you given your table an alias like players and teams, you can reference the columns inside that table using that, like teams dot conference players dot weight. Because of the alias is equivalent to pan college football teams on dot conference, we are selecting conference column in the college football teams in pan schema. So let's select this thing and paste it here and run it, and let's wait for the results. So it will give the conference and each of the players weight in that conference. So we got each conference and the average weight of all the players. So let's practice a problem which is given here. Try it out. Write a query. In this problem, we have to write a query that selects the school name. So one column name is school name, the other column name is player name, then the position, then the weight for every player in Georgia. Order by weight. Be sure to make an alias and reference all the columns in relation to it. So let's first open Notepad and write it down what things we need. School name, player name, position, weight, weight of weight of players, and then for Georgia. So we will be using some sort of where keyword. And then we have to use aliases for each table. So let's now implement this query. So in this example, we will be needing four columns that we will be showing as output. So first, we have to type from which table we want to get the data. From ban dot college football players, and we will alias it with players. Now inside that players table, we will need players dot school name, players dot player name, since we have to type for each player their position and then their weight. So here we have listed all the four columns which we needed, like school name, player name, weight, and now the next thing is for Georgia, we have to get the players out. So from where players dot state is equals to GA probably. And then we will be order by the weight, heaviest to lightest. So by weight, order by player weights. This is not a join problem, but just a simple select query. Players draw weight and desk, and we are, I guess, good to go. Let's check the answer as well. So yeah, we have got all the players with their position, weight, and names, and we have typed it correctly. So let's move to the next problem. So here they have listed join about join and on, and I have already briefed you about what these keywords will do. Join will actually be merging two columns or two tables, and the on keyword will be used as a reference to join or to merge these columns. So which columns we will be needing to merge these two tables, that thing will goes into the on keyword. So you can read this stuff. Let's move on to the inner join. So in the inner join, uh, the main thing is that we will start with inner join, which can be written as this. Inner joins will eliminate rows from both tables that do not satisfy the join conditions on the basis of on statement. In mathematical term, an inner join is the intersection of the two tables. So whichever columns or data matches between the two tables, it will show as a result when we are dealing with inner joins. Therefore, if a player goes to a school that is not in the teams table, the player wouldn't be included in the result from an inner join. Similarly, if there are schools in the teams table that do not match any schools in the players table, so they have to match in both of this table. Otherwise, the inner join will ignore these things. So in this example, they are merging players and teams based on their school name. This is what this example is doing. They are selecting all the columns from players and teams tables. They are then referencing these two tables as aliases, players and teams, and then they are joining on teams.schoolname is equals to players.schoolname. The result can only support one column with a given name, where you include two columns of the same name. The result will simply show the exact result set of both columns, even if the two columns should contain different data. You can avoid this by naming the two columns individually. If we have a collision between two columns, we can rename these columns. It happens that these two columns will actually contain the same data because they are used for the join key. Now let's try the problem. Write a query that displays the player name, school name, and conferences for schools in the FPS division 1A teams division. Hmm. So in this problem, we will be needing players and then the school name. So let's keep the player name and the school name columns and exclude the other part and add a new column, which will be add a new table, which will be ban dot college football teams, alias it with teams on players dot school name is equals to teams dot school name. So that's how we will join these two tables. Now what we will be needing is that we have to add a where keyword, and we have to define division, which teams division we want this data for. So teams dot division is equals to, let's copy the name, and before that we will be using teams. We have to get the data of conference as well. So teams dot conference, and that's it, I guess. Let's check out the answer as well. Hmm, where is it? Okay, we have to include this in quotations. Missing teams. Okay. And we have got for each school name, we are now getting its player names and then their conferences as well. And if we check the solution, it's same. So, yep. Let's jump to the next problem now. So in the outer joins are joins that return the match values and the unmatched values. So remember, inner join will only return the match values, but this outer join will return both the match ones and the unmatched ones from either or both tables. So we have different categories inside it: left join, right join, and full outer join. So left join will match returns only unmatched rows from the left table and ignore the right table join unmatched values. And same goes for right join. It will return the only the unmatched rows from the right table as well as the matched rows in the both tables. Full outer join return unmatched and as well as matched rows in both of these tables. Left join is also referred to as outer left join. Right join is also referred to as outer right join. Hmm. So let's check the difference between outer and inner. When we perform the inner join, rows from either table that are unmatched in the other table are not returned. Perhaps in the other case, outer join will give or print all the values, either they match or unmatched in any of the tables. So this is an example, and let's try the cell SQL left join now. So in the SQL left join, they have first identify why we need to implement the left join. So they have given an example. Let's start by running an inner join on the Crunchbase data set and take a look at the results. Okay, let's check the results. So they have mentioned that you may notice that 280 North appears twice in the list. That is because it has two entries in the tutorial Crunchbase acquisition table, both of which are being joined onto Crunchbase companies table. So we have got two tables, companies and acquisition, and we are joining with permalink and company permalink. So they have mentioned that we have got two entries, 280 north, and we have got exact same record. So this shouldn't be occur. So they have mentioned that so for that we have to use our left join. So now we will do the same thing, but this time with left join. So by default, if you don't define the type, it will treat the query as inner join. Remember. So we in this case we have defined the left join. So now we don't get that value 280 was 280 something. You can see that the first two companies from the previous result sets Dashwire, Hashwire, and are pushed down the page by the number of the results they contain null values that contain the null values in the extension and permalink. Hmm. This is because left join command tells the database to return all the rows in the table in the table in the from clause regardless of whether or not they have matched or not. So they didn't match. That's why. they have printed out. These values didn't match, so they have printed these values and as well as those values which have matched with the other table. We can explore the difference between left join and join by solving this problem. So in the first query, we have to write a query that performs an inner join between these two tables. And then instead of listing all the records, we have to count non-null rows in each table. So it's just a simple inner join with a count. So we will remain these as it is. This one and this one. We'll remove this left join and we will count the links since we are joining by permalink from companies table and company permalink from acquisition table. So we'll be counting these two things. Count one, count two, and I guess we are good to go. Let's check the answers. Nope, it didn't work. Okay, I forgot to remove the comma. So the answer, the solution is pretty much correct, is what we have written. So modify the query above to get left join. So now we have to replace this join, this inner join with a left join and see the count. So 1673, 1673. So both are same. If we do the left. So the result is pretty straightforward. We have got the same count. And now we have to replace this inner join with a left join. And the count one will be different because in the left join it will also include all the null values which are all the unmatched values from the first table, which is companies table. So the companies table count will be greater than the acquisition table count. So you see they have included all the records from companies table. Now that you have got a sense of how left join works, try this harder aggregation problem. So let's try out, close it out, and now focus. Count the number of unique companies. Don't double count companies, okay? And unique acquired companies by state. Do not include the results by which there is no state data, and order by the number of acquired companies from highest to lowest. So in this thing, we have to count the number of unique companies, and since they have mentioned don't double the count, so we have to use the distinct keyword. Same goes for acquisition, the unique records which we have to find from these two tables, and then there comes by state, so we have to include the state. Do not include the results for which there is no state, so we have to use not null, I guess. Count distinct. Same goes for count distinct, and then state not null, and then do not include result for which there is no state data, and order by the number of acquired companies from highest to lowest. Order by, before that, group by. Since we are using aggregate functions, we have to use group by. Let's try it out and write some query out of it. First, I need to check whether there is some state. I guess there's a state involved in this thing. State table. So select all. I'm just printing out to check whether there's a state weighted column or not. Yes, there's a state code column. So now we have to count, but unique count. Get the unique count of it. Distinct. Distinct, and then we have got companies dot state code group by one, which is our first column, and then order by order by the number of acquired. So order by three and desk. So let's run it and check the answer as well. Okay, sorry. So they have mentioned the state code, which is correct. They have then printed out the count of unique, both from companies and the other table. Then left join, then state code. Okay, okay. We have forgot the state code, so we will be writing that state code where companies dot state code is not null. So we forgot that thing, and we are now the same page. That's good. We can now jump to the next part, which is right join, and this is the opposite of left join. You can explore that, and we will rewrite this previous query in which you counted total number of them, but with a right join instead of the goal should be the exact same result. Okay, the result will be same. Remember CA 617616 and just replace with this right join. Let's wait for the result and we'll check the results and we'll check the answer. So it's pretty much the same, just the difference that the join type is changed. We are now working with white join. It's pretty much the same answer. And now we are good to go to the next part, and which is SQL join using where and non. So in this case, I guess we will be using with filtering functions. Without wasting any time, let's jump onto the practice problem. So in this problem, we have to write a query that shows the company name. So let's write it down. We have to write a query that display company name, status, then count, distinct count, this, and then order by, before that group by because of count, and then for New York, the companies should only belong to the state of New York. So yeah, so let's write it down. So here we will be using company name We don't need company state. We need company status, and then the count unique investors. Then from companies left join, since we have to find all the companies, and then we have to merge using on by permalink, company permalink, and then where status code. In the next query, we have to write and list down all the investors based on the number of the companies. So we will be needing the count, the distinct count actually, in which the investors have invested in the company, including a raw for companies with no investors. We have to write like a logic for it and order by from most companies to least. Okay, let's write it down. So we don't need this one. We need to get the count of companies dot permalink unique investors, and before that we have to use case statements and we have to write a conditional logic where investors investment dot investor investor name if null, then the company doesn't contain any investors, to mark it as no investor, else else same, keep it as same and as investor. Company invested in from tutorials, company, then left joint, tutorial, Crunchbase investment, then on. We have to remove this where clause, then group by to the first conditional logic and order by to the most to least. So it took around 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, just run this query. But we are on a good page. We have a investor column and companies invested in, and from top to bottom, we can see in which company how many investors are there. So there are companies 9363 which doesn't have any investors. Cool. Now we can jump to the next part, and which is SQL full outer join. In this example, we have to try to query that joins these two tables using full join, count up the number of rows that are matched and as in the example above. So as we have to use this example as a reference, so we will select this and we'll do the exact same thing, but with full join. Here's an example, but this time we have to use different tables. Crunch based companies and crunch based investment, marketed as investments, dot permalink, companies dot permalink is not null. Just change the rest of the stuff as from acquisition to investment and update and rename some columns like investment only. So we are good to go and we'll select it and we will get the count. We'll get three columns. Companies only both table investment only with their count. This when and so we have written a case statement if it's not null, and as well as the investment link is null. So companies only are 39363, investment only, and both tables contain this much of records. So here, if we check the details of one important thing to keep in mind is that you must count from the this table in order to get the unmatched. If you were to count this one as in the first column, you would get the result of 0 on the third column because it would be counting a bunch of null values. You have to make sure you will be using two tables. You might notice that surprisingly few rows in the table were matched to the company's table. If this was a real assignment, you probably want to look at some individual rows to get a sense of why some of them are were not matched. So you have to drill down why is this causing. So when you run this query, you will get an example about these details. Hmm. So now we are good to go to the next part, and which is SQL Union. Union, as you already know, is used to join different tables, but it's different than joining. So SQL join allow you to combine two data sets, but Union allow you to stack or append two data sets, one data set on top of other. Putting differently, Union allow you to write two separate select statements. So as you can see in the example, we are stacking two tables. One is Crunchbase investment part one, and the other is Crunchbase investment part two. We'll solve the first query only. Let's write a query that appends the two Crunchbase investment data sets as above. Filter the first data set to only companies with T, with starting with T. The second company starting with M. Stack them up only includes company, permalink, company name, and investment. So let's try it out. So in this example, I have copied the beginning part of both of the tables which we have to use. And now we have to first print out all the tables which we wanted: company permalink, company name, and investor name. So company permalink, yes. Company name, yes. And then investor name. Align these two things. Now union, same goes for the other table, but we have to write a where statement as well. In the first tip, we need all the data where company name is or like starting with T. We don't care for the rest of the stuff. And for the second table, we need the same thing, but this time with M. So like, and stacking using union all. Okay, select. Should we get some error? And it will print out all the company names, investor name, and their link and the name with stacking of two different tables. So that's how union will perform, and that's the difference between union and join. Join allow you to combine or merge two data sets. Union allow you to stack two data sets on top of the other. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any queries, do let me know. Just to recap, in this video, we have explored SQL joins and SQL union. Have a good day. See you in the next video.